It is
Uh,
there.
yes, sir. We do have a WhatsApp group for physics.
Okay. Okay, fine. I will do that. Okay.
Okay. So we, if we completed this chapter, sir.
Uh-huh. No, 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 no. Just like a 2, 3 lectures, just the initiation. I'll share. I'm sharing you the new lecture PDF. Okay, just a minute.
Sure, sure.
It's getting. This is the moment of inertia. Do you? Okay. Are you able to see this PPT? PDF. PDF.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Sir.
Okay, I will send this also. Don't worry. I will send you all the things, materials with me. Don't worry about that. Once you got, all kind of official things like Teams ID and everything, so it's no problem. Okay.
So how long will it take to?
Yeah, definitely 1 week more, I think so. Okay. So once you full admission and everything, because there are a lot of students, since just you are been my lecture 110, there are possibly 700, 800 students. Okay. So take time to do that. So be patient about that. But I will definitely help you to send all those things to your WhatsApp group. Okay. No problem.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So look at, this is the definition we defined about the moment of inertia, and I we define in summation of all those masses m suffix I and r suffix I square. Okay. So this quantity is basically the moment of inertia that we define for any generalized system. Okay. There are ith particle and ri, it's perpendicular distance from the given line from where that particular rotation is happening. So that you can generalize the moment of inertia for the discrete particle system. Okay. So the definition can be used to calculate the moment of inertia for various systems. So uniform rod we discussed in the last lecture, and ring about its axis, a line perpendicular to the plane of its center, and moment of inertia of the uniform disk we also done. So can we generalize this equation for the infinite, just like moment of inertia for the continuous mass distribution? I say when we say that the integration that we are using for the square of distribution r square dm over the integration that gives you the value as I over there. So that's a simple all the distribution what we consider to be uniform, homogeneous, okay, and continuous. That is the word. So that's the continuity. You can always be expressed as a taken as a dm is a small variation of those masses, taken integral dm as a m, and r square, that's the distance. Okay, that is to be a constant. It's not variable. That's the fixed distance with which this body is rotating. So all the masses, summation of all masses, that summation of mi as a capital M that we have written as a, all the masses are supposed to be a concentrated at one point, like that integration of dm as a taking as a one continuous one equivalent mass and taken as a center of mass of the system. Okay, so this kind of a concept we can apply to solve some other problem. So this is in your syllabus. If you go through the syllabus, one first lecture I've discussed about the syllabus, how to download the syllabus and everything. You can go to the ferguson.edu and just see the academic what we say curriculum over there or link, and you can download your first year syllabus with the recently all the COs and POs, that course outcome and program outcome been mentioned over there, a program specific outcomes of the this particular BSc program being mentioned, and all your syllabus is mapped with that program outcomes, program specific outcomes, or course outcomes. This is the course mechanics and properties of matter is a course. So first unit, what the probable learning you can you want to have, okay, or like that the questionnaires that we can generate it on that part, and you can solve such a answer for those questions through the learning. Okay, and that the things we need to adopt, that OBE model, okay, the outcome based education system. So this is new for you, new for us, but we need to adopt new things and try to be a compete with the world. Okay, so here the moment of inertia of the annular ring or disc bin we need to determine. So I request you people, whenever some slide comes in front of you, just don't see the slides only, just write down those words. So it is always be in your mind what you have written and what the equation been derived. It is very difficult to explain this such a derivations in the online classroom, but I know while writing equation on the board, it's simplified. But again, this looking loading of those blackboard, you know, here it is a whiteboard. It takes a long time writing, and that needs a specific practice for that. But I don't want to, you know, that time is very limited to us, 3 to 50 minutes. I want to finish the important topic. So be carefully, you just be there and focus what the learning process going on. So here the about an axis passing through the center and perpendicular to its plane. That is the what we say the particular case we need to find out the moment of inertia of which body? Annular ring, okay, or a disc. So this is a hollow inside like a disc you have yesterday I mentioned about. It is not a continuous body. It's like a CD. You have a disc, and this is annular means it's a hollow that has an interior radii and there is outer radii like that. Okay. So here we need to consider the R be the outer radius, capital R, and small r be the inner radius of this particular disc. And M is the mass of the system. And suppose we need to find out what will be the particular area, face area of this annular disc. So what we do, we need to find out first the face area of the whole disc that is of radius R and subtracted the face area of the disc which is a you know interiorly annular, those portion which is not continuous. So that we need to subtract it. So that has in inner radius you say as value small r. So pi r square will be the face area of the disk of radius small r, and that we need to subtract it from the total face area of the whole disk, that is a capital R square multiplied by pi. So pi r square minus pi small r square. So pi is a common, r square minus r square, that is in bracket. So that's the mass per unit area of the disk is m divided, that's the whole mass is you say m capital M. So what will be the per unit area, mass per unit area? So you just divide it by this quantity pi upon pi into r square minus r square. So m divided by pi into r square minus r square will be the what? The mass per unit area of the disk. Now you ask me why we find out the mass per unit area. We just multiply the mass per unit area with the area of the disk. That will give me the again the mass of the system. Okay. So here we need to consider again for determination of the moment of inertia of the system, we need the total mass as well as I mean to say the mass and the position at which this whole disk is rotating. So how this whole disk is made up of? This whole disk is made up of small annular thin circular rings. Okay, and those rings are you just consider of certain radius small x, okay, small annular part, and just integrate all those such things to make a whole disk. Okay, so here we need to consider a small thin circular ring of radius x and thickness you said width dx. Okay, so what to do? I'm sorry here, just a minute. Yeah. So what we are doing, we are writing over the face area of this ring. So face area of the ring is nothing but a circumference of that small ring I'm talking about of radius x. Okay, and just multiply by the 2 pi x. That gives you the circumference. Multiply by the thickness. So 2 pi x is the circumference with the thickness dx gives me the face area of this ring. Why you need face area of this ring? Again, because we need to find out the mass of that. So mass per unit area multiplied with the face area gives me the actual mass. So that m upon pi r square minus r square into 2 pi x dx gives me the small, I mean to say mass of that small annular part which has a radius x of thickness dx. So hope you are understanding the mathematical part over here. It's a simple what we did in the last two lectures, the same kind of a treatment or you know a kind of things we adopt over here to find out the moment of inertia of the whole system, like annular ring or a disk you have over here. Okay. So what the case, the moment of inertia here I'm talking about passing through the center of this annular disk and perpendicular to its plane. So what we did, we just know the moment of inertia, sorry, mass of it, mass the system, that is twice mx r square, so 2 pi, that pi get cancelled over there, and twice mx r minus r square dx. That's the mass you have, and you just multiply by the distance square at what position. You can just check, sorry. Am I audible there or disconnected?
Yeah, audible.
Audible, sir.
Yes, sir,
Audible,
you
sir.
are audible.
Okay. Sorry. There may be some message I got it that you have disconnected. Okay, just a minute. So, are you able to see this PowerPoint again or no?
Yes, sir, it
Is
is
it
visible.
visible?
Yes, sir.
Visible.
It is
Thank you.
visible.
So please write down those equations where what I'm talking to you over here. It's the integration that you want to write down. The moment of inertia of the whole annular disk that you need to find out by integrating the expression within the limits small r to capital R, because that's the hollow part of the annular part that you subtracted. So actually your continuous part will be from small r to capital R. Hope you are getting what from the diagram. So you have this is the what I say, the limit you start from the small r, and that will be continuous to the capital R, and small x we consider that is small annular part that we just make to integrate the whole things. Okay, but we need to for the whole system. Okay, and that we do with the help of moment of inertia of the whole body, that the annular body, that's the limits of integration should be from small r to capital R. So that's a variation of your limits of integration from small r to capital R, that you need to put it in your integration and solve that integration. The variable is x over there, and x cube dx is the only variable. X cube is a variable over dx. That integration will leads you value r cube by 3 minus small r cube. That's a in bracket r cube minus r cube, that is capital R cube minus small r cube, okay, divided by 3. So that value to be there after solving, you can solve this integration. And and then when you make a x cube, the integration comes out to be x4 by 4. I'm sorry here. So x4 by 4, that's your integration comes, and you put the limits of integration. So r to the power 4 minus r to the power 4 divided by 4. Okay, so I just forgot to integrate. So integration should be x4 by 4. Okay, and that comes out to be, look at the solution of this. So mathematically, what you do, you just divide it, or you say r square plus r square, and here it is a printing mistake. Should be r square minus r square. It's not should be cube over there. That's a printing mistake over here. Be careful about these Indian authors. Okay, there are a lot of printing mistakes. Okay, so but please people, you try to solve by yourself. Okay, this mathematical part, and you can easily do that. And the mathematical things that gives you the moment of inertia of the system, that's about the annular ring or a disk, I say mentioned. So this is the when you say that annular ring, and this is the system, this has an internal radii and there is an outer radii. So like such a kind of system you can use for some application. So that is hollow inside, but it has an inner radii and thick outside, like that. Okay, it's a disk, but it's a hollow, annular in nature. So annular we called as an annular ring because of the inner portion is a hollow. Okay, or you say open. So remember that it has a certain thickness also, and that has a certain inner radii and the outer radii, but it's a larger mass. And that mass, if you multiply with the r square plus small r square divided by 2, that final expression gives you the value of the moment of inertia of such a system. Okay, so can you apply this logic to find out the moment of inertia of a small disk? Again, a disk yesterday I discussed with no hole inside, It's just in a plane, no annular part. It is not an annular disk, it's a complete homogeneous disk. So you just make the R value 0 over there, small r value 0 over there, and you can write down the moment of inertia for that, the disk system, that is R is equal to capital R. You will get the value of the, the complete hoop or a circular ring, you say. So mr square by 2, that you got it the value for the ring, and mr square only, that moment of inertia you got for the whole circular ring or a disc you called, okay, or a hoop, that we determined, sorry, or ulta. I'm just sorry here, the mr square by 2, that is the value for the disc, you got it, and only mr square, that's the value you are getting when there is a no thickness, there is a no, continuous part outside, so it's just a simple circular ring, and that value comes out to be mr square over there. So be careful about when you are projecting which kind of body you have, and apply this logic to that particular body. So similarly, can we apply our laws, theorems, or the principles that we understand with the help of, the moment of inertia, to determine the moment of inertia of certain system when there are the uh, two perpendicular axes. So about its diameter. So specifically, there is a question asked. Okay, what will be the moment of inertia of such a body? Okay, annular ring about its diameter. So due to the symmetrical shape, the moment of inertia of the annular disc about one diameter will be same as that about any other diameter. Okay, so that's obvious because of the symmetry that the disc has. And let it be I be considered over here. Then the sum of the moment of inertia about two perpendicular diameters, that will be by the principle of perpendicular axis, that we need to apply over here to calculate the moment of inertia about an axis passing through the center and perpendicular to its plane. Okay, and that's we consider for one plane, that is I, for one diameter is I, another perpendicular diameter we consider small I over there. So that is a twice of I should be is equal to the what? The moment of inertia, just you got it, the value is half of m small r capital R square plus small r square. That is a twice of I should be the value as m r square plus r square by 2. So that value you will get it as m into r square plus r square divided by 4. That is the value for the annular ring or disc. So you can apply your initial logic, and you can apply this. This is a similar things you can get it added over here because of the annular part over there, and which has the inner radii is small r over here. So the logic I mean to say, the disc moment of inertia you determine, or the moment of inertia for a circular ring or a hoop you determine, you can just apply the logic, like you make inner radii 0, that will be your disc, and if you make radius as a complete outer radius r only, no what so the logic will be that will give you the moment of inertia for the disc system. Okay, that the same values you got it earlier also. So yeah, just the system is here, the symmetry, I mean to say this body here we consider is the annular ring. Okay, so annular ring का diameter जैसे निकाला, about its diameter we find out वैसे ही about the tangent in its own plane, or about the tangent perpendicular to its plane, that can think we can do it. Okay, so these things you can logically find it out. We know the values about its diameter. Okay, just add the value mr square with the help of the principle of parallel axis. Then when the tangent in drawn is on its own plane, but when the tangent is drawn perpendicular to its own plane, then we need to use the value of moment of inertia about the perpendicular axis, and then add this value of mr square. So that way you can calculate the value of the resultant moment of inertia of the system with the help of principle of perpendicular axis or the parallel axis, what been asked in the particular case over here. Okay, so that thing we need to do it. Okay, so can we use the similar things for finding the solid cylinder. Okay, just excuse me for a minute. So cylinder, what is cylinder you have? So solid cylinder you consider. I know you people have learned all those bodies in your previous courses also, but here the equations comes out to you and kind of a revision that I want to give it to you. That's the need of the syllabus. Okay. So moment of inertia of the solid cylinder. So solid cylinder is having the axial cylindrical symmetry. Cylinder is what? Is just a thick circular disc. Okay. So solid cylinder look like this. You have imaginary, I mean to say it is a made up of how the cylinder can be a made up of. The cylinder can be made up of the thin disc. If you integrate over the whole length, okay, that will give you the whole cylinder. So cylindrical system is like a continuous discs is pile up on one another to make a cylindrical system. The cylindrical system will be a longer in the length. So that is uh, the solid cylinder. So it is homogeneous inside, okay, and maintain the cylindrical symmetry. We can calculate the moment of inertia for such a body also about its own axis or about an axis passing to the center perpendicular to the axis of the cylindrical symmetry. Okay. So logic, when you are talking about the axis of the cylindrical symmetry and the question is asked, find the moment of inertia for such a cylinder about its own axis. So remember, this is like, again, it is a circular disc, okay, but just has, it has a cylindrical symmetry. So whatever be the moment of inertia is totally depending upon the radius of that, okay, the cylinder. So here, that cylinder is made up of the circular disc lamina, and that's the axis which is passing through the center perpendicular to its plane. So that value you can calculate as a half of mr square, that we know. So that is a simply you can write down the value of the moment of inertia for the thin circular disc will be same as the moment of inertia of a solid cylinder when the moment of inertia you determine about its own axis and that axis having the what? The cylindrical symmetry. So it is just like an axis passing through the center of the disc. So can we find out such a moment of inertia about an axis passing through the center and perpendicular to the its own axis of the cylindrical symmetry? Now look at the logic is a different. So that is the axis actually passing through the center but perpendicular to its own axis of the cylindrical symmetry. In a previous case, it's about its own axis, means whatever be the cylindrical symmetry, what is about its own axis. So that is like a just like it is considered as a disc. But when you consider the axis which is passing to the center and perpendicular to the axis of cylindrical symmetry. So axis of the cylindrical symmetry you can see over here, this x prime x. You can see here in the diagram that x prime x will give you the cylindrical axis over there, axis of cylindrical axis that is passing through, and the axis we are considering for finding the moment of inertia y prime, that is actually your perpendicular axis to this axis of cylindrical symmetry. Okay, so the logic, I mean to say the position where we find it out, that is actually passing to the center of the cylinder. But remember, this axis where we are finding the moment of inertia is perpendicular to the axis of cylindrical symmetry. So what to do and how to find out the moment of inertia for such a system? So the logic over here is used is like that. Imagine the cylinder is to be made up of number of thin such a disc. Okay, so what disc? We consider a small disc over here of radius small which is placed at a distance small x from the axis of perpendicular axis, and that is from the center of that cylinder. Okay, and we consider this particular disc of thickness small dx over there. So obviously the mass of the disc is m by l into dx. Now the question is the total m is the mass of the cylinder and it has a length is a small l is the length of the cylinder. So mass per unit length multiplied by the small dx, small thickness will give you the that mass of the disc. The mass per unit length multiplied by the thickness or disk thickness, that gives me the mass of the disk only. The mass of the disk is capital M divided by small a into dx, and its radius is equal to how much? Is equal to capital R. Okay, that's the same as that the disk radius we consider. So that the moment of inertia about its diameter is how much? So what you can do, you use the logic of, you know, moment of inertia is equal to the mr square over there. So so radius R is there, but it is having the cylindrical symmetry. So half of the radius, the complete radius is R. Okay. So the value, that means the moment of inertia about its diameter. So from where this value comes, mr square by 4, this value comes on from the our earlier equation. That's a disk case. So I just go to tell you where this value comes over there. This is the value, the mi of the disk about the diameter, that is the mr square by 4. That is this we consider, okay, of radius r. So we write down over the mi of the disk about the diameter, that the value we are writing over here. Mi is equal to mi about its diameter of the disk is a disk is nothing but a mass into r square by 4. But here r is what? But here the mass is m by l into dx. Okay, not like the complete mass of the system. So m by l dx is a mass, multiplied by r square by 4 will be the whole moment of inertia about of this disk about its diameter. Okay, and now you can use the moment of inertia of this principal, this perpendicular axis, that is y prime. How can you find it out? Now look at this, that axis you are finding about its diameter should be parallel to this y prime, right? So can we use the principle of parallel axis over here to determine the resultant moment of inertia of this particular disk about, you know, the position x over there? So that x is nothing but a distance between the diameter of the disk and the parallel axis where we consider y prime. So moment of inertia that we are going to write down over here is the moment of inertia of this diameter plus mr square. So mr square is nothing but a m by l dx into x square over there. So hope you are getting what the equation we are writing over here. If you are not understand, write these words carefully and get it done, this equation. Okay, and that's the equation is the equation you are getting for the moment of inertia about that perpendicular y prime over there. Okay, now I'll just move forward, and you can write down the moment of inertia of the whole cylindrical system. How can you write down? So just look at the cylinder, and the cylinder with the position that y prime is at the center, but L is the length of this cylinder. So you know this disk you want to make integrate towards only one, you know, half portion of the cylinder. But when we make all such a cylinder throughout its length, not just considering from the center to the half, like L by 2, okay, or on the left L by 2. So this complete will be a what? Your total L. So the total integration when we are doing, or the limits you are putting for the integrations over here, by doing all those mi you want to integrate over the whole system, you need to take consideration the lower limit and the upper limits of the integration. So lower limits is 0 and the upper limit is L by 2, but you need to multiply by the 2 over there. Otherwise, you can take minus L by 2 to plus L by 2. If you don't want to multiply by 2 over there, you can solve by that way also to find the resultant mi of the cylinder about the this particular y prime that axis been asked here in this particular case. Okay, so we are going to determine the moment of inertia of such a system that the about an axis passing through the center and perpendicular to its own axis of the cylindrical symmetry. That value comes out to be a what? You just do the integration. You need to solve that integration. It's not a big deal. You can just the variable over there is x, and there is a x square term. So x square integration x cube by 3 आता है. You just put the value of the limits that been mentioned, 0 and L by 2, final limits minus lower limits. That way you can solve to get the value of, m into r square by 4 plus L square by 12. That is the moment of inertia of the cylindrical system. If you want to find out, the moment of inertia for if the body is in cylindrical in nature, and we need to determine perpendicular to the axis of the cylindrical symmetry. So perpendicular to the axis of cylindrical symmetry, you will always has to pass that axis to the center of that cylinder, and you can find out the value of this moment of inertia. So moment of inertia is depending upon the radius of the cylinder as well as the length of the cylinder. Okay. Can we apply the similar things for about diameter or one of its faces? Just like you have a cylinder, and if you want to just take the moment of inertia about one of its faces. So once you know the moment of inertia of this whole system, and at one of faces is a parallel to this axis, you just add that distance, multiply by, you just take that distance between the two axes, square of it, multiply by the mass, mr square, like that. You added in the total moment of inertia of the whole system. That will give you the resultant, or you say the particular moment of inertia been asked in this particular case about the diameter of one of its faces. Okay, so that value can calculate it with the help of the principle of the parallel axis. So moment of inertia of the cylinder about the diameter of one of its face comes out to be I into m times r square by 4 plus L square by 3 over there. Okay, so this value can got it for the solid cylinder. Just remember, here is a special case. That's what we are solving about the diameter of one of its faces. Okay. I'll just take a final. Yeah, there is one more case. Hollow cylinder. Hollow cylinder. How it is made up of? Just you have a logic. You can apply that annular disk logic over there, but it is a pile up over the length. Okay, so you have a disk which is annular in nature, but it has a length over there. So they are pile up on one another to make a cylindrical system. So can you make such a hollow cylinder? Yes, you can have such a cylindrical system. And if you want to find out the moment of inertia, such a symmetrical system, which is hollow in nature and cylindrical in cylindrical symmetry, can we find out the moment of inertia for such a system? So if you know the system, that annular disk, you can solve for, for the hollow cylinder. So I will take this example later. Okay. So just summarize what we have taken in 5 minutes, what we have done. So like I have covered the moment of inertia of uniform rod, circular ring, okay, ring which is perpendicular to its plane, moment of inertia of annular ring or a disc. We solved different cases. We found about its diameter, then about its tangent in its own plane or a tangent perpendicular to its plane. We use a similar logic that we know the knowledge of moment of inertia for such a small system or the circular ring or a disc, so we can use that knowledge to the system of solid cylinder. Okay, and that is we got it the value for the moment of inertia when it is in the axis which is having the cylindrical symmetry, and the axis which is perpendicular to the cylindrical symmetry or cylindrical axis or axis of the perpendicular which is passing through the cylinder over there, and the moment of inertia about the diameter of one of its faces. So, okay, fine. So I'll just stop here. I will take this example later slowly, and I will send this PDF and the PPT to your WhatsApp group. Okay. So thank you for now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.